Hey everybody, and welcome back to FSI DFS. I am McKinley412, and today we're looking at this six-game early slate. We will also have notes for the main slate, so please come back to this exact same video and look down into the comments. We're going to be posting our notes for the main slate, our favorite pitchers, favorite bats, maybe some value plays, etc. So please, after you watch this video, after early slate wraps up, and you're looking for some main slate notes, we will have those here down in the comments section. Probably closer to lock. I would say maybe an hour before lock, just so that we can get a bunch of lineups in, starting lineups in, just kind of see where the value shakes out. But yeah, so for now, just the six games, no weather that we have to be paying attention to. It is, of course, field slate, and it is a slate with not many pitching options. I think when I was going through, there's only four pitchers that have a strikeout rate above like 18%. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, but I think that there is a pretty defined route, especially in the cash route. I think there's a very defined route on where you can go. GPP is a little bit more open-ended, but I think there's a fairly-ish clear route that you could go with that one too. All right, let me just turn on the sound on that. All right, so Blake Snell, here's the rankings that I got. So I put Kirby up at the top. I think he's your SP1. Snell has a higher strikeout rate. Snell has been pitching phenomenal. I cannot deny that at all. One thing that you do have to worry about Snell is his walk rate. His walk rate is in the double digits. But again, Kirby's walk rate is around like 3%. So vastly different in terms of command. And again, Snell, he's pitched phenomenally. But Kirby is $800 cheaper. He's got a better matchup going up against Washington rather than against Cleveland, who just doesn't strike out a whole lot and can have some pop in their bats. If you want to put Snell above Kirby, okay, fine with that. But I think Kirby is going to be the SP1 for me in cash games. And then Blake Snell, probably close SP2, but maybe another guy farther down the list who I think could also be your SP2. After Kirby and Snell, it's Wayne. Wright and Webb. So Wright, he's got a nice matchup going up against Pittsburgh and that nice Pittsburgh ballpark that just kind of neutralizes a lot of runs. Right, he's been fine. Nice floor, average strikeout rate, but a solid strikeout rate compared to the rest of the pitchers on this slate. Really, no arguments against him all that much at all. Logan Webb, I know we pick on righties against Detroit, but he's been really up and down. It's tough to really trust him because he's got a -2, -2, 11. But then he's also got some 30 games thrown in there as well. His strikeout rate is just plummeting. I think he's sub 19% strikeout rate. His walks, he's had some issues with command his past couple of starts. So there is a little bit of concern with him. Detroit is not a scary offense at all. They don't provide any power. And they really, really struggle against right-handed pitching. So maybe this is a game where Webb can, have a 8 strikeout game and get to that 30-point DK plateau. But at 9.4K for a guy who has a strikeout rate of like less than 18%, it's really tough to get excited about that, especially in cash games. So that's why I kind of have him ranked down below. Going into the mid-tier, Luzardo, he kind of like stands out above everybody else. He's going up against Oakland, which is already a great thing. But the best thing about Luzardo is his strikeout rate. He's got the second highest strikeout rate on the entire slate outside of Snell. He's around 30%. So at 8.5K, you're getting a massive discount with him and a great matchup against Oakland. I think Luzardo, he could easily be your SP2, especially in cash games. But again, like Snell, he can have some command issues and can really walk guys quite a bit. So just be wary of that. But I could see a lot of Kirby and Luzardo kind of starts in cash games, or Kirby and Snell starts in cash games. But I think you're probably going to be putting two of those three guys into your lineup. After that mid-tier, I went Irvin, Perez, and then Quantrill. Irvin, honestly, has not pitched all that bad. Got to give credit to the guy where credit's due. 7.2K. It's going up against Miami, which, again, is not the most daunting team ever. You can kind of see through the logs here that Irvin allows quite a few home runs. He's got a nice little stretch here of allowing a home run each and every game. But Miami, they don't have a whole lot of power in their lineup that he's going to have to be paying attention to. It's not guy after guy of like home run threats. So if you can limit that home run, he can throw up 5-6 strikeouts, which is certainly possible. It's in his capabilities. It's in Miami's batting capabilities. 7.2K, I don't think is a terrible price tag for him on this slate. Perez going into Colorado, always scary playing pitchers in Coors Field. But Perez, he's got a nice strikeout rate. His big issue is his walk rate, his command, especially in the past month. He's had some serious control issues, and in Coors Field, just having guys get put on base, dangerous stuff, playing with fire. But if he can have some better command, kind of control the walk rate, I think that he can strike out quite a few of these Colorado bats and maybe put up a nice score. GPP only here, but I do think that it is possible that he could have a nice game. And then Quantrill going up against San Diego to round things out. Lower tier, I don't want any of these guys. Manning, Keller, Sanchez, or Urania. I just have zero interest. They're probably the 4 worst pitchers on the entire slate, and they're probably like the 4 toughest matchups on the entire slate. So that's a no-no for me. So turning towards the bats, I already talked about how Cash, I feel like, is very straightforward and kind of where we're going to be heading. It's going to be Texas and it's going to be San Francisco. There's always a little bit of concern playing San Francisco bats with getting pinch hit and everything, but they just provide so much value on this slate. And Texas, Coors Field against Urania, sign me up. So I think your obvious guy for Texas is going to be Corey Seager at shortstop. 5.7K, a little bit pricey, but I think, you just kind of jam him in. Nate Lau at 3.6 is also extremely cheap. You can just throw in Semien at 4.9. Texas is going to be your big stack that you do want to be playing and starting with here. On the San Francisco side of things, I already mentioned they have a lot of value. Tommy La Stella, min price, absolutely. He's going to be a super cheap play that you can go with as well. And then you can see we already got 4K remaining for the rest of our bats. Go throw in a bunch of those San Francisco bats. Go throw in a bunch of those Texas outfield bats. The San Francisco lefties, specifically, so like Peterson, Yastrzemski, Wade Jr., all those kind of guys. Or you could even throw in some Atlanta guys if you want. You can easily get up to Ronald Acuna or any of the other top outfield bats on this slate. So, but I think this is kind of where Cash is really going to be heading. I think it's going to be jamming in like Lowe, Semien, Seager for Texas, throwing in La Stella, maybe like Wade Jr., some cheaper guys for San Francisco, and it's probably going to be it. At least in my opinion. We'll see how the ownership shake out, but I think that's probably going to be it. GPP, a little bit more open-ended, obviously, but I think it's Colorado, Atlanta, and Seattle. I think you can kind of like mix and match these 3 teams. As far as the pitching goes in GPP, I mean, Kyle Wright, I think a lot of people are going to be going Snell or Kirby or Luzardo. If you think that, not many people are going to go Snell, maybe you go with a Snell and a Kyle Wright. Maybe you throw in Snell and go down a little bit cheaper. I talked about how Irvin, he honestly hasn't pitched all that bad. So you can throw in Irvin, you can throw in, don't throw in Perez if you're going to be going with your Colorado stack. But I think on the Colorado side of things, one of my favorite players is going to be Montero. 3K, guy is super cheap. He's going to have a nice righty-lefty matchup going up against Perez. And you can see he's got some serious home run upside. 3 home runs in his past 3 starts. All these RBIs. He's going to strike out quite a bit. It's kind of like the main crux of him. But still, I think Montero at 3K is a fantastic value for you. Rogers, for sure, sign me up. And Iglesias is sneakily hitting over 300 on the season. He doesn't have a whole lot of pop into his bat. Just 3 home runs on the season. But still, anybody that's kind of hitting over 300 in Coors Field, I'm going to have some interest in them as for sure. So Colorado, and again, you can kind of mix in some Atlanta in there. You can throw in some Seattle guys as well. One super cheap play that you can talk about is Robbie Grossman. Min price, 2K. You typically bats like 8th or 9th in the lineup. But they're on the road, so it's like they're not going to be short an inning at all if they are winning. So they're still going to go the full 9. And Grossman kind of filling in with Ozuna out and in trouble. So we can see Grossman in the lineup today. Min price, he really opens everything up. You can then throw in like Acuna, or you can go with Julio Rodriguez. You can still see I got 4K remaining to play with and everything. So throw in some Atlanta, throw in some Seattle, throw in Colorado. I think mix and match, kind of get everything around there. San Diego, no issues if you want to go them in GPP, going up against Quantrill. Obviously, they have the bats to do it. They're just extremely expensive. I want to say they have a couple of guys who are over 6K. Let me see. That's just the outfielders. Yeah. Well, so it was day to day. But 6'3", 6'2", 5'5", 5'1", 4'6". Like their 8th or 9th cheapest guy is still over 4K. It's just extremely expensive. It's gonna be tough to fit them in, especially with such limited value on the pitching side of things. Cleveland going up against Snell. I already talked about how Snell has a little bit of a walk rate issue. So maybe they can get on him a little bit. Then Pittsburgh honestly was just kind of like the last spot. I didn't know what to do with them. But you can go with them if you want. Detroit's going to have an absurd amount of people that are min-priced. I already talked about how Webb just does not have really much of a strikeout rate at all. So maybe Detroit can figure something out today, put some contact, get some lucky with some BABIP. They could be a nice play. Miami, fine with them going up against Irvin. I mean, really any of these teams, they're bad offenses, but they're there. they're cheap for a reason. Am I going to be touching any of these teams? Probably not. I'm probably going to be sticking with Texas, San Francisco, Atlanta, Seattle, and Colorado as the main thing. Maybe a little bit of San Diego dabbling in there, but again, they're pricey. It's tough to get a big stack with them. So that kind of covers everything on this slate. It's pretty straightforward in my opinion, but get different obviously in GPP. It's 6 games. There's going to be a lot of high owned guys. But yeah, so come back again later. We will have notes in the comment section, probably closer to dinner time, 5, 6 o'clock Eastern time, an hour or two before lock, where we'll have the notes for the main slate up for you guys. So as always, good luck in your contest. Hopefully this helped you out, and we will see you in the next video.